Hey everyone, Dan's Video Reviews. I'm Dan. Today I'm going to be reviewing the highly anticipated Logan. So Logan was a movie with a lot of high expectations. And does it live up to them? In my personal opinion, they definitely do. So what makes it so good? Let's start with the cast. Obviously, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and Patrick Stewart as Professor X, they do a great job. But honestly, one of the best parts and one of the parts that kind of stood out to me was that it was the child actress, Daphne Keane, who played X-23. She did an amazing job. She was able to make you care about the character of X-23 with almost little to no dialogue. It was one of those things that was just like, it was amazing just to see that person act, and I think there's going to be great things for her future because she did such a marvelous job in this movie. Another great part of the movie was the tone. It gave it not necessarily a dark tone, but it was more of a gritty, realistic tone, which definitely fit well with that Western vibe it was going for. It was able to kind of engross you into that tone, and just the way it felt just felt right for the movie that they were trying to make. The movie itself also definitely proved that going for the R rating definitely was worth what it was trying to do, because it was just so much stuff that had to get done, and in order to provide that tone that needed to go that extra step of making it R. It just goes to show that you should be making the ratings for what the movie is, not necessarily on what you think would draw in the most people, because if you make it R, this is going to do a lot. This is going to make a lot of money. I just already know that. So for the fact that they already did all that and they made it R instead of just going with the PG-13 to get a wider audience is definitely worth it, and I think that that worked out really well for it. So the story was also very simple, but it gave you enough time to react with the characters and kind of grow with the characters, which definitely worked well. It allowed you to really focus on what they were doing instead of being one of those things where it's like, oh, this story's so complex, you're trying to figure that out and you're not focusing on the characters. No, the story was just very simple. You need to get this done in order to do this, and that made it so you weren't even thinking about the story, you were just focusing on the characters, which definitely was a great choice. The pacing was really well done because you had those great moments of character development that I just spoke of earlier, but they also was able to throw in these great action sequences which were just very small scale and visceral and engrossing. That way, when you're watching those, you're just kind of sucked into what's going on, and it helped move that story along. Those action pieces definitely made the movie feel like it was shorter, so I wasn't, sitting there trying to feel like it was, is this going to be over? Is this not? It's definitely did such a great job with its pacing, because I never once felt like this movie was going on for too long. I was just sucked into it the whole time until it ended. Now, obviously, the movie itself wasn't perfect. There were some problems with the villain, in my opinion. I don't think that he was that great, but I mean, it wasn't really about the villain, it was more about the main characters. But I feel like you could have had more time explaining to him, or explaining to the viewers of his intentions. And the actor who played him, Boyd Holbrook, he actually did a pretty good job. It wasn't anything wrong with him. It was more along the lines of the story didn't allow enough growth for the villain to have you invested in that. He wasn't even that intimidating. I think the story should have made him a little more intimidating than he was. Also, although the story was very simple, it was a little bit confusing at first. For that first little bit of time, you were kind of sitting there being like, oh, what's going to happen? I don't understand. And as time went on, you started to realize, oh, this is what this is, and this means this, and all that. But at first, it definitely was very confusing. I was like, why are you even doing this? Why do you care? Type situation. But at the end of the day, that was okay, so I'll give it a pass with that. Some minor issues as well, like some certain points of just action. I was like, oh, why would you do that when you could do something else? But I mean, that's just me. I think that other people probably don't have that same opinion. Alright, so now it's time to give my final opinion and my score out of 10. This was definitely a very good movie. It definitely was one of the best ones of the year that I've seen so far, and I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. Do you agree with me? Do you happen to disagree? Feel free to comment below and have a discussion with me. I'd love to know what your opinion is. As always, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm going to be putting my Twitter and my email on the bottom of the screen. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, email me any suggestions for videos that you'd like to see me do. I'd love to hear from you guys. And thank you very much. Have a great day.